Hi there, I'm Tom and this is Des and we're at Humble Grape Battersea and we're here to tell you a little bit more about wine labels and how to understand them and perhaps read them because they can be quite confusing. So I think the first place is we'll start with Europe, with the old world, because in Europe they've now got common legislation dictating what sorts of things you can put on your wine labels. So maybe we'll start with France. Des, what is the main thing for France that we're looking for?
So what we're looking for are AOCs, and you'll find them normally on the front part of the label or on the back. So
yes, so on this Bordeaux, for example, we've got appellation Saint-Estèphe Contrôlée. And so what does the AOC stand for?
So it's Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée.
Yeah.
So what it can tell you about the fact that this is from Saint-Estèphe. So with French labels, you kind of need to be aware of where wine is made and what's being made in that region. So because it's Saint-Estèphe, you think, okay, so that's in Bordeaux. Now, what side is it on? Is it on the right bank or on the left bank? So it's on the left bank. So this is obviously going to be a blend of Cab Sauv, maybe a little bit with Merlot, Cab Franc, and Petit Verdot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about French wine labels. They don't label by varietal, they label by region. So Malbec, for example, is predominantly using Cahors, but they don't put Malbec on the bottle, they just say Cahors and you're supposed to know. In Burgundy, the only white grape permissible is Chardonnay, but if you don't know that, they don't write it on the bottle. So it's worth doing a little bit of research about your favourite wines. Okay, so let's do Italy.
Yeah.
What have we got in Italy? We've got DOC and DOCG.
Yeah, so basically after the war, Italy had no wine laws and a lot of people were making some fake Chianti. They were using some clones from a different province in Italy and then, masking it as Chianti. So because of that, the Italian government actually responded by making these Italian wine laws. So in the 60s they created the DOC, and then to make matters even worse or more regulated, in the 80s they created the DOCG. So that means Denominazione d'Origine Controllata, and then the second, the more strict version, is DOCG, which is Denominazione d'Origine Controllata e Garantita. And the first four, I believe, was Barolo, Vino Nobile di Montepulciano,
Yeah.
and Brunello.
Come on.
Oh, what's the other one? Oh, and Chianti.
Of course. And in Italian wines, they do it again slightly differently. So sometimes it's by region, sometimes it's by grape varietal. So you mentioned Nebbiolo.
Yeah.
You mentioned Barolo, which is the Nebbiolo grape.
Yep.
And in Chianti it's Sangiovese. But then sometimes you'll get like Montepulciano d'Abruzzo,
Yeah.
which is the grape Montepulciano and the region Abruzzo. So they change it around. So again, it's worth looking into what goes into the wines that you like and sort of doing a little bit of research or ask someone that knows.
One more thing about
Yeah.
Italy is that just because it has a DOC or a DOCG actually doesn't guarantee that it is of good quality,
Yeah.
because it applies to the region. So Tom could be making a fantastic wine in Chianti,
Obviously.
and of course you would.
Yeah.
And basically you could make a fantastic wine, and then I could be on the other side.
Making some filth.
Basically, and I can still carry the DOC, DOCG. So really, best thing with Italy is just learn about the producers, because that can tell you a lot about how the wine is made.
I mean, that's the same across sort of Europe. So AOC and DOCG in Spain.
It's DOC, DOC.
DOCA.
DOCA.
So there's no guarantee of quality, but what it does mean that the wines are made in a way typical of that region. So it's been using a certain grape varietal, a certain percentage of that grape varietal, a certain amount of oak or not oak, etc., etc. So it's a good place to start, and it can give you some confidence. But there is also something called an IGT wine or an IGP wine, which we'll come into in another video because it's a whole other sort of kettle of fish.
It's a bit confounding.
But one of the easier things about wine is actually the New World. So this is a 100% Cabernet Franc from Kangaroo Island, just off the coast of Adelaide. And in the New World, they don't use the same system. They do have some legal frameworks, but that's more to do with geographically. But what they tend to do is they label by grape varietal and location. So it makes it a lot easier to sort of work out what it is you're drinking. So like if you were to have a Chinon from France, for example, that's also 100% Cabernet Franc, but you're not going to know that from looking at the bottle unless you know what goes into a Chinon. So Des, any tips on wine labels?
Wine labels. I mean, as I said, do your research.
Yeah.
That's just really important. If you know something about the region, you can definitely always look it up on your phone while you're at a wine shop, and
Yep.
you can always ask a really friendly wine shop assistant like us.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes.
sometimes, but ultimately, it's just studying them. And if you're looking for something a bit more straightforward, New World wines
Yep.
tend to be the best to go to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good place to start. Start something New World, you can work out what it is, and then perhaps research where else that grape's grown in the world, and then you might find some new favourites. So that's about it from us this week.
Yeah.
So I hope you've learned a few bits, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.
Bye.